Welcome to this spooky Halloween episode of Wine with HR. Ooh. So, Julie and I thought we would do something a little different today. In honor of Halloween, we thought we would do a little research and find some of those spooky, scary, downright, oh my gosh, did that really actually happen? HR stories and share them with you today.
It's going to be a ton of fun. You probably won't believe half of these. And quite frankly, it's not like we could fact check them. So, there's that. But everybody loves a good spooky story right around Halloween time. So we're just going to go with it. If nothing else, you will be gasping, laughing, groaning, probably. And probably maybe having some nightmares because of some of the things we're going to talk about today.
Especially because people are going to be like, oh, yeah, been there, done that one. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing how, we're reading through a lot of these and we're like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, I've had that happen. I've had that happen. I've had that happen. Yeah. But Halloween is a very special time of the year for Trish and I. For years, little known fact for all of our listeners out there, we used to go to Put-in-Bay, which for those of you who are not from Ohio, it's a small little island in the middle of Lake Erie. And they would have a Halloween party, and we would do these group costumes that were so fun, so outrageous. I mean, we got into it. We did The Wizard of Oz, had a Tin Man who we made he walked real stiff, and we had everybody involved. Oh my God, the amount of costumes we've had and the amount of fun we
Greatest
had.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yes, Grey's Anatomy was another one. We had a lot of really fun ones and a lot of stuff that we can never repeat. So you're not going to hear
True.
those stories, but in honor of our shenanigans from past, we will talk about employee shenanigans at work.
One of my
But
favorite words,
yes,
shenanigans.
shenanigans. But first, what are you drinking, Trish?
Well, okay, so here's a funny thing about today because, oops, I did it again. I bought a bottle of wine. I went to, so there, my mom took my brother and I to this little store by where I grew up. It's called Birch Hill Store. And a new owner bought it several years ago, and she's brought in all these like really amazing foods and wines, and just it's a really, really special place. Well, now she's doing wine tastings and tapas and things like that. So we went a couple of weeks ago, and I fell in love with this wine. It was Coeur de Granite, I believe. It's a French wine. Show you the bottle,
Yes.
Jules.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So
Yes.
excellent. Fell in love with it. Thought it was so yummy. I'm like, I'm buying a bottle and I'm going to use it for Wine with HR. I couldn't wait to talk to everybody about it. It was just, you know where this is going, right?
You drank it. You drank the whole damn bottle.
And not only did I drink the whole darn bottle, but Julie, I bought a second bottle to have with Will for our anniversary, and we drank that bottle. So now neither one of these bottles is available for me to talk to you guys about. So what I will tell you is this. It's a phenomenal bottle. It's absolutely delicious, and I would highly, highly recommend it to anyone. So Coeur de Granite. So there you
Oh,
go.
nice.
What I am drinking instead, and this will make you laugh, check this out. And I wish our listeners could see it because I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
The
So
Grateful Dead. That's perfect for Halloween.
isn't it? We
Yeah.
saw it when we went to the store the other day. It's a Grateful Dead 60th year and 60th anniversary edition. Gnarly Head Old Vine Zin.
I
So
love it.
I know, I thought it was so perfect. So I did not actually expect to like it. I really didn't. That's good. Huh. Yeah, there's Definitely takes taste some vanilla in there. You know how I love my fruits and my berry and all of that, so that's definitely there. Um, yeah, I'm going to reserve full judgment for a couple more sips, or really until the end. And shush, so you can talk because I am just excited about wine today.
Yeah. Well, so I also have a little bit of a weird wine story, but this is the difference between Trisha and Jules for all of our listeners out there. I have two bottles, both of which are over half full.
Oh, what?
Trisha has no wine. Julie has too much wine, but it's okay. No, so here's the thing. So I am drinking while we are doing the episode the Pine Ridge Chenin Blanc and Viognier, which we have already talked about because you were drinking it once, and I was like, I love that wine. So does Deborah, and the
Yes.
three of us all agreeing on one wine is crazy. So but that's what I was in the mood for today. But yesterday, and this is also very fitting for Halloween. I told Scott that I had been craving filet mignon with a blue cheese melted, crusted on
Mm,
top.
yes,
And then
please.
we made cauliflower mashed potatoes and asparagus. We made. Scott made.
Right. I
Scott,
knew what
yeah,
we
yeah,
meant.
yeah. Scott made all of these things. And I was like, ooh, we definitely need some red wine with this. So I pulled out a red. And you know me, I'm not a huge cab fan, but we tried the Unshackled, which is from the Prisoner Wine Company. And for those of you who don't know, which I don't know why any of you would know, but that the Prisoner is one of my all-time favorites, and the wine that I had at our wedding, which is hilarious to me. So we had all sorts of jokes about the ball and chain, and like marriage being a prison, and like really went into it with the best of intentions. So, so this is from Prisoner Wine Company. It's called Unshackled. Really cool label. It's like one of those oh crap. What are they called? The puzzles, the cryptograms or crypto something or others.
Yeah.
It's in Angels and Demons,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
movie and the book. Anyway, it's got a very cool label. It's a cab. It is very jammy. It's
Mhm.
very full bodied. It was delicious with the steak and the blue cheese.
Well, you know that's one of my favorites, Jules.
Yeah,
I think I
I do.
featured that one at least twice on past episodes.
It's entirely possible, yes, but I just
Yeah.
thought it was fitting for our Halloween horror special. So we've got The Grateful Dead and Unshackled. So, I do
Love
love that it
it.
says, and I'm sure you said this when you did this wine, but on the back of it, it says, freedom is a state of mind.
Yes.
Unshackled. Yeah.
Love
So
it.
okay, so getting back to what we're here about today. So this one's going to be fun. So again, you should be prepared to gasp and laugh and oh my, whatever expletive you would like to add to the end of that. There may be some bleepity bleeps in this episode because, well, the things we're talking about. So Trish, I'm going to throw it over to you to start off with one of the ones that you wanted to share.
All right. So I think we should start off with some that'll make people laugh.
Okay.
Let's build into the scaries.
Yeah.
One that I really, really liked, and it was a very, very short, just a single line. Employee brings a tattoo gun to work and starts tattooing other employees. Now, I don't know. I can't see a problem with this. Anybody who knows Julie and I knows that we both have a few tattoos each.
A few.
All right, all right. So maybe it isn't about the tattoos necessarily. Maybe it's more about the fact that, well, we shouldn't be tattooing each other at work. It just doesn't seem very safe, very hygienic.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, kind of a
Yes.
problem.
Sanitary was going to be the word I was using. Plus, I'm
Yes.
assuming that this employee's job was not as a tattoo artist at this particular employer. So
Oh, does
A
that
little,
matter? You mean they weren't doing their job?
you know. Could you
And neither were
imagine
the other
though?
employees.
Yeah, going back to your hygiene point, could you imagine that the employee ends up infecting everybody with hepatitis B or
Oh my
something,
gosh.
or A, or
Oh.
whichever one is, communicable? Um,
Oh my gosh. And as an employer, you'll let that happen?
right.
What
I
kind
wonder
of
how long it took before somebody was like, HR, are you aware this is happening? Okay, but
And what
Trish,
if wait, I have a question. What happens
yeah,
if they stop mid-tattoo?
yeah,
Like
that would be bad.
I mean, think
Like
about like some of the
words.
yes.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be really bad. Oh my
So
goodness.
scary. So
That was
scary.
that was scary. Well, so I have a tattoo story of my own. Um,
Uh-oh.
Not a personal one, but an actual work-related one where this is one of my clients who shall remain unnamed. They had an incident where they got a report from a summer intern that when the summer intern was out on a job site, one of the other employees said to him, "I'll bet you $1 I don't have your name tattooed on my ass." And so the poor kid who's, 19 probably was like, "All right, I'm just going to go along with this because I don't even know what to do here." And so he's like, "Okay." And the guy, kid you not, pulls his pants down and has a tattoo in quotes of your name.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
Ah.
is not the first time that he has done that to somebody because he
Oh
thinks he
no.
is
This
so,
is
so
uh-huh.
clever, so he probably does that multiple times a week. Hmm. Yep. Yep. And then when it got back to HR and HR tried to investigate, everybody played dumb, like, "Oh no, I don't have any idea who that." Oh, you know.
Yeah, they
And,
do.
and trust me, we're gonna find out. So whatever. But yeah, can you imagine being like a
No.
19-year-old kid and having that in your face?
No. No, I
Blech.
cannot.
Blech.
That's gonna color the way you see the man.
Yeah. Yikes.
We should probably say that most of these, not everything that we're going to be talking to you about today is personal experience or from
Yeah.
unnamed clients. A
Right.
lot of these actually come from Reddit. We had put out some feelers out there, asked you all to give us some ideas. So we have some of that. We have some from Reddit. So just so you know, yeah, we're not calling anybody out specifically, but if
No.
you do want a good scary laugh, definitely look at the Reddit articles related to HR horror stories.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot. And so one of the ones that since we sort of ended on kind of like a gross note, I'm just going to keep going with the gross theme for a second.
Oh,
But one
good.
of the ones that I thought it's also funny um, was it says the female trainer who was having an affair with a junior colleague. Based on her instant messages, we had to get new furniture for her office.
That just makes me want to hurl.
I know, I know. These are like scary in a nasty way. We apologize for that. But
Yeah.
still, again, speaking from professional experience, the amount of people who have affairs at the office is staggering, staggering. And the amount of people who don't think that they're going to get caught or that there's anything wrong with, like, control yourselves, people.
Yeah.
Number one, go get a hotel room someplace. Or I don't care, do it in your car in somebody else's parking lot. But like, please do not use the office or office furniture or office equipment or office supplies or office locations. Just don't. Just don't
Just
do it.
ew. Just
Yeah.
ew. I'm trying to decide if I should continue with gross. Yeah,
Let's
there was
spice it
one that
up.
I
Let's spice
all
it up.
right. Um, Ooh, yeah. Let's talk about this. As HR, you get a complaint and you need to investigate to see if that complaint is true. Now, there are ways to do that. You can have interviews, you can look at video. There's a lot of different ways, right?
Hmm.
One of the worst ideas I can think of is this one. I was directed to follow my employee around all day. You read this one too, to
No,
see if,
no, I
oh no,
didn't. But I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, I can
yeah,
totally see an employer telling somebody to do this.
yeah, follow my employee around all day to see if I could see down her shirt. Why did they direct this person to do it? There was a complaint that she was purposefully bending over and showing her breast to some guy, and the girlfriend got upset and didn't appreciate it. So this person says, I saw no breasts. I told her what I was directed to do. Ouch, scary. Uh, and she said, well, this is the best part though. If you see them, let me know because I'm so flat, I don't even see them. Okay. Now, obviously, we don't want this to go down this way. You are never going to direct someone to follow an employee around and try to see down her shirt. There are many, many ways to address issues like this. This is not one of them. If we really need to go any further and tell you what to do, just go back to listen to our other episodes because I don't even know what to tell you.
Well, and you know what, Trish, this does bring up a good point that we are going to have as a topic for another episode. And this was actually a great idea from our um, dear Brenna, but is how to respond when employers or recruiters or an employer that you want or need to get a job with ask you things or ask you to do things that you are not comfortable with and are wrong. And how do you respond in that moment? Because it's really, really hard, right? Because most people panic because they're like, I'm in a professional setting. I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now. And they
Right,
just
of
kind of
course they do.
freeze. Right. And, but so I thought that was a great idea. And we should talk through some of that because for all of you listening out there, if your employer ever asks you to follow another employee, the appropriate response is, I'm sorry, I don't have my PI license. And so that would be against the law. Or no, oh, are you gonna pay if I get murdered? Yeah, can
Yeah.
can you give me some life insurance for that? No, I mean like we will go through professional responses for those sorts of moments where somebody says or does something where you're like, holy crap, if I was anywhere else, I would be able to handle this, but I'm in a workplace setting and I don't know what to do. So that's
Look at
another scary
us.
topic. I know we'll talk about later.
Look at us setting them up, reeling them in, and bringing them
I
back for
know.
more.
I know, I know. Okay, so I want to go to a scary one because I think this does demonstrate a really big issue that employers and particularly HR people need to think about, but we often don't because we always hope it's one of those things that will never happen. So let me take a sip of my wine. Got to wet my whistle before I talk through this one. It's a little long.
Ooh, this is going to be a good one.
Okay. So again, this is not me talking. I'm reading from one of the Reddit ones. I think my scariest encounter was with a man we suspended for sexual harassment. We had large turnstiles in the front entrance of the building, so no one could enter that wasn't allowed. So that's good for security purposes. Well, he came in and was walking back and forth along the turnstiles asking to see HR. I came out not really worried about anything because I felt protected at first. I asked him how I could help him, and he wanted to talk about how he didn't do anything and he wants his job, that he'd never sexually harassed anyone. I calmly informed him the investigation wasn't completed and we would reach out to him as soon as we had a final verdict on the situation. He then looked at my chest. In parentheses, this person says, I have a large tattoo on my chest up to my neck, and said, "That's a lovely tattoo on your chesticles." Chesticles? Really? I was taken aback, and I then noticed he had a gun in his pocket, and he had moved his hand out of his pocket. I immediately told him to have a nice day, that we would call him, turned on my heel, and walked faster than any power walking grandma you've ever seen back to my security guard's post. I informed them and refused to go up front. Police were called and everything. We found out later not only had he murdered someone 15 plus years ago, but he was wanted at that moment for armed burglary.
And this is why you do background checks, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, background checks, but also why you don't assume that people are going to act reasonably in situations where their lifeline, their job, whatever, their reputation may be at stake. So you just never know. You always have to plan for what if. I have had this happen with countless clients where they thought that it was going to be no big deal. Somebody lost their mind, came back with a gun, or somebody came later to the main office looking for HR, all like, and a lot of times reception just buzzes them in because they don't know. They just assume they're like a vendor or somebody who's visiting somebody or whatever. There is a protocol that you should follow when you have when you terminate somebody. Like there should be, you should let everybody who would be the first people to come in contact with that person, you should let them know this person's not allowed on our property or any of our job sites. And you should give pictures of that person, especially if it's a big company and there's a lot of employees or there's a lot of different job sites. You may have to inform customers or vendors or, any number of other third parties, but you do need to make sure that people know, hey, this person isn't welcome here because you just never know in today's world. It's a sad fact we have to live with.
And I would say it's not just about the chances of them coming back. What if they currently have a gun on them? If
Yeah.
you are in an area where they're allowed to carry, whether concealed or open, hey, that person could have a gun on them right then and there. And what are you going to
Yeah.
do?
Right. Or even just in the parking lot in their glove box, but that's
Right.
not a far walk. They can
Nope.
go get that really easily. So it is a scary thing. And even here where I can see why this person felt safe because there's security in the building, but
Of
still, you don't
course.
know. It doesn't take long for somebody to whip out a gun and shoot somebody, you
Mm-mm.
know? So,
Nope. And I think that goes to something that we should talk to everybody about, which is practice. You've heard Julie and I talk about how much we love to do role playing. Role play may seem silly, but it does. It gives you an opportunity to practice. It allows your body and your mind to know what to do in case it actually happens. It becomes more, I hate to say normalized, but your at least your body and brain know how to respond. Our children have to practice fire drills. They have to practice tornado drills. They have to, God help us, they have to do active shooter drills. Well, you know
mhm.
what? We need to practice as well and be prepared for situations like that so that we know what to do in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually brings up, it turned out to be a really funny story. But I was doing a training for a YWCA, and this particular YWCA has housing for survivors of domestic violence. And so my training was just on, the typical sexual harassment stuff. So it wasn't anything like super scary or anything, but we're getting ready to do it and thank God somebody came in and gave us a heads up. Somebody comes in and says, "Hey, they are about to do some active shooter training. We just wanted to let you know because they act like it's happening." And so the next thing we know, like 30 seconds later, these guys, like two or three guys, bust in with like what looked like AK-47 strapped around their waist. They're making the noises and they are like, opening doors and slamming them and going like, "Where is she? Where is she? And pounding on everything and like threatening people. And I am sitting there thinking, if you had not given me that heads up, I would have pooped my pants. Like,
Just thinking
no,
the same thing.
no doubt about it, because it was, even knowing that what I was hearing wasn't real, it was still really scary. But so to your point, they have them practice that so that when, God forbid, it ever does happen, you don't go into fear or flight. You
Right.
go into either fight, or at least you can remain
Action.
rational enough that you can figure out what's happening and what the best course of action is.
Eek.
We went sort of
Okay, I
dark.
think
We need something lighter again.
I was
Let's go
just
lighter
about to
again.
say I've got a light one.
Go.
It's also in the realm of disgusting, but it's
Eh,
it's fun.
those
Okay.
are our only choices.
I
Scary,
know.
really scary, heavy, or gross, disgusting, funny. So
True,
there you go.
true. All right, so this is another one from Reddit. District manager calls me to tell me they caught an employee naked, pleasuring themselves in the janitorial closet. Okay, fire them, I respond. Well, the district manager replies, the problem is this is the second time we've caught this employee doing it. The first time we just moved them to a new account, so now I'm not sure if we can actually fire them. Not a problem, I tell the manager. As I get in my car, I immediately drove the 7 hours from my home to this location and fired them both. Yes!
I love it. I love it.
Right?
That's
How did the person still have a job after the
right.
first time?
Right. Oh, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Again, this is why we say we have to have conversations with our employees, with our managers, and let them know, hey, there are certain things that probably shouldn't happen at work. Do we really have to have that conversation though, Jules?
Apparently, yes.
Yeah, apparently.
Yes. Well, you know what is weird to me? So just oh, that one we're going to leave alone, but that particular situation. But going back to like the affairs, people seem to think, many people seem to think that the workplace is like a dating pool or a dating playground. And that is very weird to me
Truth.
because, again, why do you think we have so many cliches about don't dip your pen in the company ink and, like all the other ones? There's a reason for that, people,
Don't
like,
poop where you eat.
right, exactly. And let me tell you, I have started saying this to people. Are you violating a company policy by having an affair? Maybe, depending what the company policy on relationships in the workplace says. But typically, no, you're not violating a policy. But if your drama comes into the workplace and creates a lot of strife for everybody else, and becomes the
Mhm.
topic of conversation and the work ain't getting done, yeah, yeah, you can be fired for that, people. Especially, almost all the states are at will states except for Montana and is it just Montana or are there
Yeah,
two others?
just
I feel like oh,
Montana.
just
Yep.
Montana. So,
Although if
if
they're a
you
public employee, supposedly it has to be for cause, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, come on, people, like use better judgment. Come on. Come
Come
on. Come
on.
on. Come on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, I like this one too, but we're still in the gross area. So maybe don't be eating for this one.
Oh
So,
no.
okay. So in this one, they said an employee claimed we couldn't fire him for going to grown-up websites. So y'all know what that means. Yep. Surfing the porn. Uh, yes, seriously. He said, you can't fire me for that because that would be disability discrimination because he was so generously endowed, it was interfering with his day-to-day life. And sex is defined as a major life activity under the ADA. So, this is what happens when people know just enough of the law to be dangerous
Oh,
because, yes, Yes, sex is a major life activity under the ADA, but they don't mean work. And they don't necessarily mean by yourself. And it still doesn't mean you can watch porn at work,
Oh
just
my
in case
gosh.
people were misunderstanding.
I don't even, I can't.
I mean, points for creativity.
Truth. You know that that one was planned ahead of time. He was like, this is something I enjoy. What am I going to do if I ever get caught?
Hmm. I had another situation like that when I was working at one of my law firms. This was before I really got into the HR stuff, but we had I feel like this person had become a first year associate. So they had been a summer associate. It was a female. And we had this attorney, older attorney, who quite frankly looked like Mr. Magoo and had the thick glasses to, to go along with it. I did not know this until this all happened. I was completely clueless. But apparently, this gentleman, using some strong language there, liked to also watch pornography while he was in the office.
Oh dear.
And what he liked on top of that, oh, sorry, um, what he also liked to do was apparently have it, in full view on his computer screen and then call down one of the pretty young things to come into his office by telling him that he had some work for them to do. And so this poor, again, she's, what are we when we get out of law school? Most people, I went to law school late in life. So what, 22, 23?
Uh,
Yeah, no,
no, it'd be like
25,
24,
25,
25.
20,
Yeah.
24, 25. But still,
Yeah,
for a
but
lot of
still.
people, it's their first real job, first professional job. Yeah, can you imagine being a 25-year-old girl who's got this, posh job at a law firm and walks into this partner's office and is lambasted with, you know, just think of all the bad porn titles you've heard of. And there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, actually I can. I'd like to say no. Oh my God.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no. Yeah, I
Mm.
absolutely can. You want to talk about a fun one that is also kind of gross?
Sure.
All right, this is so when we talk to our employees and we say like engaging in antics, engaging is in some fun and building camaraderie, we want you to do that. We want you to like interact and have fun with each other. But here is a case of horseplay gone awry.
Oh,
Supervisor takes his crew, where I guess we're talking about a fire crew here. They take the fire crew to another fire station and they're going to prank them by throwing water balloons at them. Now, they do this, and as they are returning to their site, and they're backing the fire truck into the station. All right. So imagine all this is going on. Water balloons are going, people are ducking and diving. This guy ends up losing his leg because he
oh
gets
my God.
run over by the fire truck. Now, by the way, just so y'all know, because I know you're wondering, did that supervisor who led the antics get fired? The shenanigans? No,
No.
he did not. Oh, and by the way, he was promoted a few months later.
Oh my God.
Y'all, I am all for bonding. I am all for jokes, but are you kidding me right now?
Also, we depend on these people to save our lives, and that's the kind
Yeah.
of judgment they're displaying that's a little disturbing,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so you guys you probably sense a common theme here, which is that oftentimes management is involved or at least allowing things to continue. And that is why we always preach about manager accountability and the accountability being directly tied to their management of their team, because this is how this stuff gets out of hand. I was just dealing with another situation today where somebody's been allowed to get away with terrible behavior for 20 some years. And now, employees are finally like, I'm not having this anymore. I'm done. I don't want to deal with this. And of course, there's nothing documented because everybody's just swept
Of
it under
course
the
not.
rug. But it is like your managers are your leaders. They are setting the example. So they are sending a message of what behavior is appropriate. And if you allow them to do crap like that or, other things, then you get what you tolerate, which is something we say a lot. And
Hmm.
it's true.
It runs downhill.
It does. It does. So on that note, I'm going to use one that is not the scariest, not the grossest, but it is especially scary because it does involve the HR department, which we usually hope we're better than this.
Ooh.
But okay, so this one says we had three HR leads at my last job. The man was sexually harassing male employees, and the woman made countless, all in caps, inappropriate sex jokes on the job. She also got drunk at several functions. Both were fired in the same week and replaced with much more professional HR people. The third stayed out of trouble. So there's a happy ending there. But one of the reasons this struck me in particular today is because I was just talking with a client about a woman in a leadership position, not HR in this particular case, but who has a tendency to make a lot of sexually charged jokes. And they mentioned something that she had allegedly said. And I said, oh my God, if a man had said that, you'd have a sexual harassment complaint on your hands. Well, but that's the point. Sometimes we don't take things as seriously when it's said by a woman because we're not used to it. We're used
Right.
to it from men, and women have been thankfully told you should report this, you should report this, you should report this. But
Mhm.
men don't always feel as comfortable because it's weirder. It's not as common, so it's more unusual. So it's a little, and probably there's the whole,
Well, they
all
get
of our
harassed for
stereotypes.
it.
Right. There's all the
Yeah.
stereotypes about men. You got to be strong and you got to be like whatever and you shouldn't be complaining about that kind of stuff. But it goes both ways, peeps. You cannot say, "Oh, we cannot have this type of behavior when a man does it, but excuse it when a woman does it." It's across the board. It's the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's absolutely ridiculous. The double standard that does exist. And I get it. Listen, for all of our male listeners out there, whether you're in HR or you're a manager or you're an employee, please know that it does matter. If you are
Hmm.
experiencing any sort of harassment, sexual harassment, whatever, please speak up and say something. So this one says this happened while we were interviewing an internal candidate for a management position. Hiring manager, a woman, says, what are some of the flaws you see here at the company that you would like to address? The candidate says, there are too many women managers. We continued the interview, but when he left, we all agreed he would not be getting the promotion.
Oh, and he's probably like, "Oh, it's because of those damn women."
You know it is.
Oh
I
my
thought that
God.
one was kind of, I mean, it's sad, but at least it's a little lighter than some of the other ones that we've had.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and on that note, okay, wait, maybe I need to read this before I say it out loud. Read it again. Give me a second. Trish, if you got another one, go ahead. Oh my
All right,
goodness.
absolutely. I can't wait to see what it is that you are going to tell us. I think one of my favorites that I also read, since this is Halloween, I will talk about this one. So, this person worked at an amusement park, and as such, they were allowed to dress up and be in costume. This particular individual comes in and is dressed up like a zombie. Now, why was this HR professional interviewing this individual? Well, it turns out that their employees are allowed to stay at the dorms. So imagine your favorite amusement park. You know, it's usually younger folks that are working there. They all have these dorms. Well, this gentleman had too much to drink the night before. He gets in an argument with a girl that he really liked. Now, this is where it gets kind of dark. He actually choked her. Okay. This is a horrible, horrible thing. Not one person, including the girl, thought to notify security. As a matter of fact, the girl didn't come in until later the next day. Of course, this HR department, as soon as they find out, they do an investigation and they're like, done, done. But when they're doing the termination for this individual, he says, "Wait, she says I choked her? Oh no, no. I was holding her neck straight so I could slap her. I would
Oh,
never, yeah, truth. I would never choke someone."
that's a special
Secure,
kind of logic right there.
right? The
Hmm.
security manager who was watching the interview on the live feed immediately busted into the room to remove the guy from our property. Now, I shared it because, okay, it starts out kind of fun and you have someone dressed up like a zombie, and they were like, yay, it was the first time I ever had to fire a dead person. But I want to talk to you about the seriousness of this. Your employees need to know that they absolutely need to report any kind of conduct that is like this, or even if they don't think it's a big deal, if it makes them uncomfortable, if it makes someone else uncomfortable, if there's physical contact, your employees should know what to do and how to handle it. Please, please. There should have been 15 people that were lined up talking to security and HR about this. So again, it has to do with Halloween, so I'm sharing it, but this is kind of one of those sobering moments. I'm sorry to be the buzzkill.
Well, I'm going to buzzkill a little bit more because when you first started telling that story, it was ringing some bells for me. But then it didn't involve a zombie costume. So, but there is a similar story that I read about in the papers where a woman had, like, a guy had been coming on to her at work or something like that. She had told him no. He then, like, I think she worked for him, reported to him, so then he arranged for them to both go attend like the same conference out of town or something, and she tried to get out of it, but she couldn't get out of it, and he ended up murdering her.
Mm,
Yeah. So that's the scariest we're gonna get. And it's obviously worst case scenario. But again, you cannot, as HR, we all know we're cynical, but you also cannot assume that people are reasonable. Not anymore. Like, I hate to say it. That's probably the scariest thing I've said on this podcast and
truly.
on this particular episode.
Truly.
But you cannot assume that people are reasonable, because they aren't. And especially if they think their life is about to get blown up, they're about to lose their job, they're about to be accused of something, potentially face jail time, whatever the case may be, you cannot expect them to act like a normal human would. So we always have to be alert for these things. And again, don't mean to be the buzzkill, but so I'll make it a little bit lighter because the one that I was reading wasn't as bad as I thought.
Okay,
And
good.
it's kind of funny. So, but it's the replies that are funny. So, this one says, Feds here. We had a sex for prescription drugs ring at one of our
Oh,
sites. It was during the
this is a
midnight
great one.
shift. Yeah, it was during the midnight shift, and apparently they were doing it in the conference rooms and all over the place. Kind of wild. And the reply is, why give them drugs and leave them unsupervised at midnight if you don't want them to have sex? It must take a special kind of person to get their butt cheeks, they used a different word, out in their workplace. I feel weird enough just wearing jeans to work. Wait, there's one more reply. I didn't see that. I gotta find out the second reply. So then somebody else responded, tax dollars hard at work?
Ooh. All right. Can we keep going just to make people laugh on federal
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
I work for a government agency, not federal. One of our employees threatened the police with governmental action when he was pulled over for a DUI. We only found out when the captain of the police department called to tell us what happened. Yeah, he was fired after an investigation, but not before he filed an EEO claim based on disability discrimination for his alcoholism.
Hmm.
See, y'all, you're not alone. You think you're the only company out there that is dealing with this. No, no, it
No.
could be worse, or you just are like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so here's another one we can also add to the conversation about establishing boundaries and how to respond when somebody asks you to do something that you're really not comfortable with. So this one says, not HR, but my wife used to be. She worked for a cable company. Insert all the jokes here. She once told me about a supervisor who was making his direct reports call him sexual chocolate. Again, just no. Just
No,
no. No.
no.
No.
Mm-mm.
Nope. Nope. You don't have to do that. All right, Trish. I think we need to each pick one last one.
Yeah, I think the one I want to read is really long, so I'm gonna try to shorten it and paraphrase it because I think it's really, really important for people to understand timing. Um, you need to do when you need to do something, you need to do it. So this place where this person worked had plans to terminate an employee. They had some allegations of sexual harassment. They investigated, and that investigation was concluded. So they were going to term this employee. Now, for some reason, they waited to term him. I don't know what the situation is, but they say in the week we were going to term, he actually applied for a promotion because obviously he was unaware of our plans to term. Now, here's the problem. My counterpart, who this person is an HR generalist, and so apparently was her counterpart, was instructed by our bosses, who was the HR manager and director of the facility, to conduct the promotion just hours before we planned to term. Why? Because they just wanted to F with him.
Oh my God.
Uh huh. So the HR manager decides she is going to leave or she's out of town or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. So they do this interview and then this person that they planned on firing a couple hours later actually leaves after the interview but before they get to fire him. And then he says, and of course he's upset. He later on finds out, he says, it's fine if you want to let me go, but why did you embarrass me by giving me an interview? You should have just let me go. Yeah, hey, y'all, in case you were like, ha ha ha, that was funny. No,
Yep.
his feelings are valid, right?
Yep.
And this is
Yep.
what the person who's writing this says. They're valid. Now they have to walk this guy out because of course he is irate. If you had just let him go, everything would be fine. Well, you know how this story ends, right? Unfortunately, the guy is so embarrassed, he's so upset that he comes back later with an AK-47. The people who decided to do this are nowhere to be found. Shocker. Cops
Hmm.
came. You know, Julie, what is your famous saying? Don't be a what?
Dick.
Yup. Look,
Yep.
don't. don't. If you are going
No.
to do something like this, you just fire them. You don't try to embarrass someone. You don't try to get back at them. I don't care if it was your best friend that they harassed. This is not the appropriate time. Well, it's really never appropriate time or place to
Right,
embarrass
right.
someone intentionally, but you absolutely do not do this. And so one of the things I want to point out is notice this was HR. This was a director of HR. HR isn't always innocent. We've given you a couple of other examples, but really and truly, going back to that stay safe thing, please do not do something like this.
Right. And think about, this is one of the things we've talked about before. We've gotten away from this in today's world because everything's so divisive, but you gotta continue to have empathy for people. And even if the person deserves it, even if they deserve to get fired, even if they should know they're getting fired, even if their life is about to be changed in a dramatic way that they then have to go home and explain to their family. And you wouldn't want somebody to have quote unquote effed with you in the midst of that process. Like, give people what dignity you can. Yeah, just don't be a dick. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
End of
yeah.
story, bottom line, period, hard stop.
Okay, so mine's a little lighter than that, but it does.
I was
I think
hoping
this is
so.
a yes. I think this is a great example of the kind of crap we have to deal with at work. So this person, this is another Reddit one. I had a group of shop floor quality inspectors that had essentially split into two factions. Each faction had a leader. It's not the Hunger Games, but it sounds kind of close. We'll call them B as in boy and D as in dog. I had been having frequent small issues with them until I got a call one day that someone had put a razor blade in a keyboard that was used by dog. One of the team boy guys was cleaning the keyboard and sliced his hand on it while wiping. It's a very dusty shop floor. He said that D as in dog put it there so nobody would use her computer. D said someone put it there to cut her hand. Nobody knew anything. Of course, they all knew
Of course they
something.
didn't.
Yeah,
No.
right. Going back to
Psh,
my your name guy. Okay,
I was thinking
sure.
about that.
Uh-huh. Things escalated until one day I came into work and one of the employees had pooped under B's desk. Again, nobody knew anything, and after a long investigation, we could not substantiate anything. I held a meeting with all of the quality inspectors on both shifts and essentially told them that if I got one more instance from anyone on this team, I would write them all up since none of them knew anything about anything. Yeah. So I was 32 at the time, and all of the quality inspectors were easily over 50. So we all remain in high school
Yep.
and we continue to partake in high school shenanigans. Do not underestimate the immaturity of people.
And oh, and by the way, if you think this is the only reference to poop, oh no. Oh no. I highly
You're thinking about that case, aren't you, that we have to talk about in one of our trainings? For those of you who don't know, because this is a great one to end on, but this is where you wonder, as somebody in HR, or somebody with any modicum of common sense, where were the people with the common sense? So there's this great case, and it's out of, I believe it's out of Pennsylvania, but there was a case where a manufacturing facility, I think it was actually a warehouse, was getting really frustrated because they kept finding piles of feces outside of their warehouse. And so, Trisha, if that was the case, what would you recommend that they do?
put up cameras.
Ah, right? Put up cameras. No, no, they did not do that. And this was way back in probably like 2015. So before DNA testing was
Way back.
hugely popular and, really expensive. No, no. These brain surgeons decided that they were going to take a sample of the feces and then they were going to get cheek swabs from 1,000 employees Send them off for DNA testing and see who's matched.
Mm.
Can you guess
Let
what
me
happened?
guess, they never found a match.
Right. I'm not even sure they knew if it was human. But you know what they did get? A several million dollar judgment for invading these people's genetic information and violating Gina.
Heck
So,
yeah.
yeah. So, for those of you listening who don't know what Gina is, it's the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act. And you, as an employer, cannot just willy-nilly start collecting genetic information. And by doing cheek swabs and sending them off for DNA swabs, that is exactly what they did. Plus, that had to
So
cost them
dangerous.
a fortune.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I cannot even
1,000
imagine.
employees?
Yeah.
Come on.
But
Come on.
but they are not the only ones to experience poop. Enjoy the Reddit, everyone, because
Yes,
there are
yes.
at least 4 or 5 others that reference poop.
We we will include the Reddit link in the show notes
We
just so
have
you
to.
all have it. Yeah, for your
Yeah,
own
because the
perusement.
comments,
Yeah.
it's even some of the like so we gave you most of the stories, but the comments that come along with some of these, you just and again, pour yourself a glass of wine, kick up your heels and say, I need some. Well, most of it is laughter. Some of it is going to, be scary or move you to tears, but just hopefully you also learn something too. And hopefully, while we try to I almost said scare the pants off you. Is that an HR faux pas?
Right? Yeah, a little bit, a little bit.
While we tried to scare you today, we also did try to educate you. We do not want you repeating these same things. There's a reason that this is on an HR horror stories Reddit list.
Yeah.
Don't do
And
it.
I would also say that hopefully your response to many of these was, well, at least we're not that bad. And also, I think the scariest thing we have learned today is that common sense is not so common
It's
anymore.
not so common anymore. The
Yeah.
idiocracy is real.
Yep. All right, Trish. So, you were saving the final verdict on your wine. What do you think? Did the
You know
Grateful
what?
Dead give us a win?
Grateful Dead always gives us a win. Dude, come on. It's the dead.
Yeah. The label's pretty cool, if
I
nothing else.
mean, yeah, so if
Yeah.
anyone hasn't seen it yet, go out to your local store, look for it. It's the 60th anniversary edition of Gnarly Head Grateful Dead. It's just a super cool label. It's an easy drinking zin. Is it my favorite zin? No, probably not. But I would absolutely 100% get it again and thoroughly enjoy it. It actually has a warmth to it. So I was thinking, ooh, this would have been a good one to, me and Halloween. I'm always out there with our neighbors and having our bonfires and things like that was as we give the kitties their treats. I think this would be a nice one to be drinking at that point because it would keep me nice and warm.
I like it. I like it.
What about you? Are you still drinking our favorite or did you switch?
No, I am still drinking the white. You know what's really interesting, and this just goes to show you that sometimes your palate changes from day to day. For whatever reason, today it is tasting very sweet to me.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's because I ate the leftover steak and blue cheese and, asparagus and mashed potatoes. Uh, I don't know if that's why. But yeah, it tastes sweeter than I remember it tasting before. So that's just very interesting to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. But I wasn't quite ready to go back to the red because it was a gorgeous, gorgeous day here. 65, beautiful, like just
Same.
beautiful weather. So I felt more like a white. So I
Yeah,
still love
fair.
it. It's a good one. But yeah, just oddly, tasting very different to me today. So
Huh. I'm gonna go with it's what you had eaten.
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us. We hope you got some laughs out of this and also some, oh, thank God we are not that bad, you know. We hope it was a little spooky for Halloween. As always, if you have ideas about topics, wines, just you want us to give you a shout out, please email us at whine, WHINE, at monarchendeavorsllc.com. And we would love to hear from you. We are going to be, well, this episode will be airing at the time we're in Pittsburgh, but by some
I
chance, if you hear
know.
this, we'll be in Pittsburgh at the Disrupt HR Pittsburgh event, which is going to be great. And we will put pictures of that online. But anyway, we love you all and we thank you for being with us every week. Please spread the word, share with your friends, tell them how fantastic we are.
And
Uh,
hey, if you have a Disrupt HR coming to you soon and you would like to see us, hey, let us know.
Let
I
us
can't
know.
guarantee we'll make it happen, but you never know. We might.
You never know. Yep. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.